be recorded. Here we are. And connected to that, we ask you to have the camera on and to keep the microphone muted for all the time that you're not speaking. That's to avoid background noises, of course. And then I want to say that this event includes two main sessions. There is first a panel discussion and then a breakout room session. And I'd ask you to kindly remain in listening mode during the panel. But at the same time, I encourage you to keep notes and start thinking, start elaborating what you hear, because then we encourage you to participate in an active way in the breakout rooms where the more dialogic part of the meeting is happening. And this event is called a dialogue. It's part of a dialogue series. So be aware that your inputs is very much appreciated and very much important for us. I will go quickly through the agenda, and I almost said it already. So there will be a little introduction at the beginning to introduction to the topic, and then we'll dive into the topic that is cultural heritage as a driver for innovation. And we'll do it with 4 distinguished speakers that are with us today, and then we compose the panel session. Next, after the session, and likely in the second hours of our meeting, we kick off the breakout rooms for having the interactive part, the interactive discussion. After the breakout rooms, they will last about 40 minutes. We reconvene in the plenary. We will have designated rapporteurs that report back on the takeaways, on the main takeaways of the 2 discussions. And then we will move towards the final discussion of the event. To give you a little bit of context, more context, I've spent just a few words about the European Heritage Hub. It's a project, you can also see it in my background. It's a 2 years pilot project, actually, that was launched in May 23 already, and is co-funded by the European Union. And as the overreaching goal of the project is to strengthen and to mobilize a cultural heritage movement across Europe. And to do so, and through this movement, this pan-European movement, the goal is to influence European policies. In fact, the hub supports a Europe's transition that goes towards a more sustainable, innovative, and inclusive future, and want to do so leveraging on cultural heritage. That's our topic. So when I say Europe, I don't only speak about the European Union member states, but also other countries, also neighboring countries such as Western Balkans, Caucasus, Ukraine, and Moldova, which are part of the hub as well. The project aims to foster the cooperation among stakeholders, which is us. That's why we're here, and hopefully we have an interactive discussion, and to bring together different initiatives. And as a part of this goal of a strong and united movement across Europe that is driven by our common European heritage, the European Heritage Hub started different initiatives, organized different initiatives, for example, peer learning visits, but also in-person forum and online dialogues. Before going into the dialogue, allow me for a quick word about the in-person forum, because building on the success of the previous forum in Venice and in Bucharest, which explored the first one, the cultural-led climate action, and the second one, digital transition in and with cultural heritage. The third forum will happen very soon and will explore how heritage can be the driver of community resilience and social transformation. And it's very relevant for the topic we're addressing today. It's bringing this conversation a step forward. We will give you more information about the forum lately at the end of the meeting. And now back on the dialogue, which is a series of 6 online webinars. So it's always a online event. And the 6 webinars address the pillars of the European Framework for Action on Cultural Heritage, which are 5. And there is an extra webinar that will focus on the cultural heritage in the EU neighboring countries. The European Framework for Action on Cultural Heritage, if you don't know, it's a very important publication of 2019 that captured and aimed to scale up the success of the year before, European Year of Cultural Heritage. That was, as I said, the year before in 2018. So that's the main reference of our discussion. This dialogue served to not only to raise awareness, but it's more like an engaging event for stakeholders to gather insights and shape both the final, let's say, the next steps of the project, of the hub, but also to feed consultation processes at the European level. So, for example, the Cultural Compass, which is a pretty new strategic framework launched by the European Commission that aim to amplify, to strengthen the role of culture in the EU policies. So that's one of our chances to have a word on it. And the first dialogue addressed democracy inclusion. The second one focused on digital transformation. And today's one, we will focus on the fourth pillar of the European framework, which is cultural heritage for an innovative Europe. And there's a subtitle, Mobilizing Knowledge and Research. So in particular, this fourth pillar highlights the role of cultural heritage in fostering innovation, whether through, for example, technological advancement, but can also be knowledge transfer or social innovation, for example, participatory governance. Our discussion aim to, we'll explore all these aspects actually. And in general, the role of cultural heritage as catalyst for innovation, for not only for innovation, but also for economic growth and social transformation. Going into the, let's say, the meat of the discussion, I'm happy and honored to have with us for speakers, our panelists. I will call you in. Perhaps you can turn on the camera if it's off and wave to everyone once I call your name. So we have Lucia Cesla, I hope I've pronounced it well, which is Vice President of Surfanta Association in Kęszyn in Poland. Are you there? We see you. Hi, Lucia.
Hello, nice to hear you.
Second, we have Pavlos Katsigigoriou. He's a digital heritage specialist and the founder of Hermes NGO. Are you there, Pavlos?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hi, Pavlos. Third speakers will be Martina Fraioli, Project and Research Manager at the European Network of Cultural Centers in Brussels.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hi, Martina. And last but not least, of course, we have Daniele Muschetti as a representative of La Pranza Cooperative in Naples, in Italy.
Hi, everyone. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
Nice. We are all here. We are almost set. I just want quick remind you that, to keep also for people that just joined, to keep microphone muted when you're not speaking, to use the raise hand function if you want to contribute to or add to your fellow speaker contributions, and also to kindly remain in the time frame that we agreed. As like, if the conversation gets too long, I will step in and just ask you to wrap up. Say so. We can discuss. We can start with the discussion. The first speakers that I'd like to call in is Lucia. As I said, she's the Vice President of Surfanta Association. We will know more about it. But not only, she's also an entrepreneur, she's a manager, craft instructor, and specialist in social media. And she's a strong passion on bridging two important components, bridging the gap between what people need, between intangible cultural heritage and modern markets. In her work, she transmits the knowledge and the skills of the Polish craft masters to the new generations in a way of blending traditional techniques with contemporary needs, contemporary perspectives, we can say. So based on that, Lucia.
Thank you for the introduction. I'm really happy that I can present today our work. of Serfenta Association. I'm sharing my screen.
Cool. And I want to ask you, because we are talking about intangible cultural heritage here.
Yes.
So how, in general, intangible cultural heritage can drive innovation, but also more in particular, how the traditional knowledge and skills can go beyond their traditional roles actually to drive innovation. How do we fill this gap? The floor is
Okay,
yours.
I will try because I feel the topic is actually very wide. But thanks that we've got 2 hours today to discuss all these topics. I feel it very important because we are working with intangible cultural heritage for 17 years. And we've got many experiences leading us to the moment where we are now. I really don't like talking about dying crafts, and I not agree that heritage is not attractive anymore for a modern audience. And in Serfenta Association, we've got a proposition of change. We call it revitalization. We've got innovation model of craft revitalization. It's a business model. And I believe that revitalization means to bring life to the area where we think, or maybe there is not so much life anymore. So we can refresh it and revitalize it. And that's what we do actually. Serfenta is one of 3 NGOs in Poland accredited by UNESCO and awarded by Europa Nostra Award last year. You can see this very important moment for us. I'm working with Paulina Adamska. She is also at the picture. We've got an NGO with a woman's leadership, and we are working like an NGO, entrepreneurship, and also we are working with the business advisor. She's at the picture. This is Urszula Szwed. We started 17 years ago with ethnographic research. We've been gaining knowledge and skills from the masters of basketry. Basketry craft is the area, the most important area in Serfenta's life, also nowadays. So we know this traditional world very well. But today we are rather talking about transmission and how to work with intangible cultural heritage to attract modern audiences. These skills and knowledge, this is the part of intangible cultural heritage. In our business model, we've got 3 parts, which are very important. This is ethnographic research, which is the base of what we are transforming actually. We've got a huge part focused on people's needs, modern people's needs nowadays. And the 3rd part is a market. This is important that we've got a model and we put our basketry craft to this model and we found solutions which I present now. But actually we can take and use this model for other heritage areas and for other crafts. So now I am talking about our solutions and the change for the basketry craft, but maybe it's more wider than this. We are working with education because we heard when we started to dig in the topic and to listen people's needs, we heard many times that craft and the heritage is hermetic. And what we are proposing is letting people in to try and to touch as much as we can. We propose something which we call craft experience, because nowadays people wants to try, wants to check, wants to know more, wants to smell, and find, also people want to find some values which tradition already have. And sometimes we are proposing also, this is not a very popular sentence, especially in the crafters area, less products, more experiences. But actually, at the end of these roads, very often the product is this material, tangible heritage is also present, of course. But intangible heritage is what we are transferring, and there are hidden values, also attractive for modern people. We've got our own program of short and simple, which is very important, craft experience workshops for everyone. So this is prepared for letting as many person as we can to trying even once alive. And what we hear and what is very important, I tried just once, and after that short experience, for example 2 hours, now I can see craft and heritage differently at all. So this is from the small experience to the very wide knowledge and awareness. What we also do is, working with children, and we are not leading only craft experience workshops. We are, for example, doing math lessons, and we are counting the final price of craft products. So we believe that we are building a strong and aware society, and we prepare future clients for working with craft markets and to meet heritage in their life, and maybe also the heritage lovers. And what we discovered and what we propose, and this is also about presenting, storytelling, and also connecting with the market. It's values hidden in crafts. It is not only traditional skills. What people finds in our craft experience, it's deep relax and support for mental health. It is very important in a modern world because we are working in a digital world. And when our hands are working, our head is resting. So this is a value which we all need. I'm sure even we know are connected in a digital way, and it is also very important. But still, we just need to use our hands to do something. It is also about touching of nature. Basketry craft, in this example, is really connected with nature, and we are rather disconnected more than we think in a modern world. So you can touch, you can smell, and you can go deeper to the nature. The creation is a very important part, being creative and finding a space for being creative. Making an experiment, which is not very popular, I can say, in a Polish school, regular school, it is still about being the best and being perfect, and but our work is rather about making mistakes, testing, and experimenting, which is also a great support for mental health. Even also, for example, for teenagers, we are working also with teenagers. So we also all need the space when you can be just yourself. And also craft and heritage at all connects people. Craft workshops is a great opportunity to meet other people focused on the same ideas, on the same, what to say, sorry, lost my word. So craft connects people, and this you can meet people from the same world and around the same values. It is also very important in our modern world. And we believe that these values are hidden in tradition, and what we can do is transform it to make it more open, to make it more simple, and to let people try to give them all these values. And also the tool is the craft and traditional skills for that. So it was this is our biggest part of the work when working with basketry craft. But from here we also got a group of heritage experts. The project is High Heritage Impact, highheritage.com. And we are proposing these solutions and this business model as a tool for different craft and different heritage areas, because we believe that it can be a solution for regions, for cities, for communities, and for society, because tradition is what you already have. You can just, don't let it go on and die. You can use it for your modern purpose, and also for building economic growth, like we said. Thank you for this short presentation. If you want to ask me anything, of course, I'm here today with you.
Thank you. I take the last words because you reconnect to the economic part, and I really like the structure of the business model that make it also concrete yeah, and more like how can I say, easy to deliver. And I like that you put future clients and heritage lovers together. And beside that, I try to look at the innovation aspects, and I saw it into the way of how education goes. So to have a different type of education that doesn't have to be an entire new curricula, but can be like shorter experiences, touching, working, making mistakes with the craft. And yes, I think that's
Actually, very, like you said, very basic level. We don't need, because if you are, for example, a heritage expert, you want to give your experience, huge and long, and keep people for a long time. But people just want to try for the first time. They are not really sure if they want to make a baskets for the whole life. But if they want to do, if we just let them try to play with the material, to touch, mostly they want more and the next step.
And I will not see the basket differently only, but the entire craft arts differently.
Yes, everything what is in handworks actually.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you said it's about the basket, but it's mainly about the experience, so about the intangible aspects. But now I want to call in Pavlos, our next experts, to go a bit more into. We still keep the possibility of preserving and transmitting intangible heritage, but also we open to the tangible aspects of cultural heritage. Pavlos with us is an expert in he has a long, like 20 years of experience in merging cultural preservation with digital innovation. So we bring the digital aspect in the discussion. And is also the founder of Hermes NGO. It's a not-profit NGO that works exactly in that direction. I think you will tell us more. It works on intangible cultural assets and tangible cultural assets. And also is a teacher, is a professor of digital heritage at the University of the Aegean. Pablos, I really want to build on your extensive knowledge and experience. So I want to ask you, in what way the cultural heritage can drive digital innovation or digital transformation? And at the same time, how digital transformation affects the cultural heritage? Like we just talk about preservation, or also, as Lucia said, there's something about revitalization or finding new form of engagement, for example.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for this invitation and for this opportunity. And thank you for the introduction. So I'm sharing my screen. I hope you can see it. Yes?
We see it now, yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. I would like to start, yes, with Hermes NGO. We are working on digital cultural heritage, and cultural heritage is also tangible and intangible. Sometimes, as you may understand, you may think intangible cultural heritage is very difficult to digitize because it's an experience, as we just heard. Cultural heritage plays usually a role. I don't know if it's a big or a small role, depends on local communities. We have worked with many local communities in Hermes, and we saw that how big this role is depends on the engagement between different levels of local authorities, cultural heritage sector, NGOs, the education sector, the community and the people. And in some cases, in some communities, also crucial engagement is there is a crucial engagement with the tourism and the visitors with cultural heritage. So depending on these levels, we have different area that cultural heritage covers in the local community, and maybe even in the everyday life of local community. But at the same time, we have digital heritage, and I see digital heritage as a tool, as a set of tools that can help, or as a catalyst, if you like, or as a stitch that brings everything together. They can help them to engage more with cultural heritage. All levels of community can engage more, and they can help them to grow more their cultural heritage background and the role that plays for the local community. Now, how this is happening, usually digital heritage shows us ways to attract a new audience. We all can understand that with digital heritage, we can have, for example, very nice games or installations or interactive applications that can attract a especially younger audience, and the visualization that can help us to understand more the information of cultural heritage. Also increases interactivity, digital heritage increases engagement with experience with cultural heritage. So we can imagine maybe we have already tried AR in our mobile phones, maybe VR using glasses, or now XR, AR, VR, and mixed reality at the same time. So the learning process becomes more interesting and the experience becomes unforgettable. Creates opportunities for the creative industry from the glam sector, as we say. It's, I think, never before in our history was easier to reuse information by the public. This also raises some issues about copyrights and IPR, etc. But we are dealing with this also. And we can easily exchange information, and it gives opportunity for the economy. It gives opportunity for growth. Also, as we talk about growth in the economy, we can talk about tourism and digital heritage. We can use it in two different ways here. We can use it also to attract new destinations and to attract tourists, to attract visitors, but also shape a new flow from overcrowded destinations, so we can deal and cope with over tourism in some communities, and trying to shift the flow of tourism to different areas, destination, or monuments. I think it's also very easy to understand how digital heritage can help us to make cultural heritage more accessible and inclusive. It's not only for mobility issues, it's not only for accessibility issues, but it can also play in different abilities. People with different abilities can play a crucial role with multisensory. We have now haptic digital heritage, we have multimodal engagement. So there are a lot of ways that we see in research, but also in practice, that digital heritage helps for inclusivity and accessibility. It helps also the preservation. This is how it started, to be honest. It started with the preservation. We wanted to digitize assets. Wanted to digitize artifacts and monuments for the preservation and also for the study of conservation and restoration. So we make now digital copies of the real world. We call them digital twins. And we started now a very special digital data ecosystem that we have responsibility, as maybe we have time later, we can discuss about this responsibility for this ecosystem. And I couldn't leave out of the discussion the AI. They say that in the last 3 years, you have to finish with AI if you want to be interested in your presentation. So it's AI and machine learning for heritage interpretation. We can see it now, it analyzes, we can see it already analyzing historical data. Even we have seen papers about prediction for material degradation for heritage buildings, for climate change. But also we see now AI-driven storytelling that can personalize visitor experience in museums or in heritage sites, and the tailoring narratives based on the interest of the user. This is something like the holy grail for tourism especially. So I hope I'm covering, I covered your question, Joel. I don't know if you have another one.
I think so. Going from, you say, from preservation, that was the starting point, and then I see that the engagement can be also enhanced. But I do have a follow-up question on it, and this, I'm wondering if digitalization can, let's say, affect or diluting the authenticity of a heritage building, heritage site, or if it serve as a rather the opposite, as a, to strengthen the relevance of this site. What's your thought about it?
Yeah,
Perhaps in a
okay.
minute, so we wrap up.
I predicted something about the pitfalls. So this is one of the pitfalls that we can discuss about digital heritage. So what you asked is the loss of material authenticity. First of all, if you see everything through a VR, AR, through your mobile phone, you have always, or through your computer screen, you have always a filter between the reality and the virtual reality. So there is a pitfall here. There is also the simplification and the commercialization. Some people also like to call it Disneyfication. I don't like this term. I don't like this word, and maybe we have time we can discuss why I don't like Disneyfication. But it is a pitfall, and also there is a detachment from the context because we take the artifact when we digitize it, and we can put it in any context we want. And there is also manipulation and misinterpretation. This is easy with digital heritage. It's also just with cultural heritage, it's easy, but now it's, I can say, easier. I can propose that rather than seeing this as a threat to the authenticity, we should view it as we should view the digital heritage as an evolving tool set that we can use it responsibly. We have to respect the value, the meaning, and the accessibility of cultural heritage. And this is a very good example. It's like the hammer that you can nail. You can nail something to the wall, or you can use the hammer to kill somebody. But the tool is just a tool, so it depends on us how we are going to use this tool. I would like just to add the last pitfall that doesn't have to do with authenticity, but we have to be very careful. And maybe it's also an answer to the question, because we have to realize that with digital heritage, we don't save the physical artifact or the monument, we just digitize it. So we have the responsibility to digitize as authentic as we can. And the second responsibility that we now have is that we need to preserve not only the monument, but also the digital twin. So this digital data ecosystem that I just said before, it's a huge responsibility to preserve it. And we saw with the war in Syria, we saw that we had to digitize our heritage. But with the war in Ukraine, we saw that we have to preserve the digital data set of cultural heritage. And there is a very interesting Europa Nostra award, the Saving Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Online, that I would like to propose to our viewers to just scan or check it in the internet to see how difficult it is to preserve the digital twin of everything that we are producing today. So for Hermes, if you want to get in touch with us, we are part of organization of Europa Nostra, and also our website is hermesngo.com. And I hope I have covered your questions.
Yeah, thank you. And with the example of the hammer, I think I got it. And also, I think from there we can imagine how influencing policy is actually important to direct or to give advice and recommendation on how to use the tool. Thank you, Pavlos. I'd like now to call in the third speaker, Martina Fraioli. We stay in the realm of engagement, but we move from the digital world to the physical world, and we will talk about about cultural centers, because Martina comes and works from the European Network of Cultural Centers, where she is a project and research manager, working for European cooperation and research initiatives. And her work actually focuses on the role of culture and creativity. So we have this creativity element in here in generating. I mean, we also have it in the craft and digital. In generating, so the role of culture in generating societal transformation. She's also led, and I think very, very recently co-authored a research titled, and I will read, Just Sustainability from Earth of Communities, the Transformative Power of Sociocultural Centers. So it brings also this justice perspective. Martina, I would like to ask you, because I think the cultural center, and also I know you from your research that you agree, can play a key role actually in social innovation. So I would like to ask you, how can they be empowered in the proper way to act as these centers, these hubs for a transformation, and more for a community-driven transformation, and use the opportunities that culture creates? And as a follow-up question, I'm already asking you, what are the challenges that the cultural centers can face in this attempt to drive social innovation, and how can they be overcome, according to you?
Thank you, Joelle. Well, that's a lot of questions to be answered in 8 minutes, I must say, but I'll try. Let me quickly share my screen. I think you can see my screen. So thank you, Jolie, for the introduction, and thank you also to the previous speakers. I've been taking quite some notes, and I see a lot of links with the answers that I will try to give to your questions. So I represent today the European Network of Cultural Centers, which is a network that represents, advocates for, empowers, trains sociocultural centers all around Europe. But I also represent Heritact, which is a Horizon Europe project in which we are actively involved as a partner. And it's a project bridging the past and the future of our societies and communities through cultural heritage. So maybe before talking about the challenges and also the potential solutions, as you mentioned, to overcome these challenges. In our daily work, we realize that when we talk about cultural centers or more recently sociocultural centers, the concept of cultural center is something with which most people are at the same time familiar and not familiar, because especially in this era of categorization, these hybrid platforms, spaces, places are very difficult to categorize sometimes. So they are not only presentation venues, they are not only heritage sites, they are not only creative hubs, but they are really all of that. And I could have used several ways to present the potential of these places, of cultural centers to you, but I chose these 6 visuals, which come from a large research we have conducted last year, as you mentioned the title, Joelle, and I invite you all to dive into this research, because together with really several cultural centers all around Europe, we started a participatory trajectory to co-identify, to try to create a framework and try to identify the famous transition roles that cultural centers play in societies, where by transition roles we mean the roles that these places can play in larger societal transformations, but also in local social transformation dynamics, social transformation processes. And we came up all together with these 6 roles. And it was nice to hear Lucia and the Serpent Association example, because it's really the perfect example of like the living proof of these roles. Here, of course, I'm staying on the surface of these roles, and it's maybe more theoretical, but in the research we have collected tons and tons of practices and examples. And you can see that some of these roles are very much linked to the local ecosystem dynamics and collaboration with the facilitator and the community builder role. Then we have the educator role. We have heard about knowledge and skills, where cultural centers promote the development of soft and art skills, especially critical thinking, intercultural dialogue, and a number of other soft skills. The innovator role, where innovation is initiated with community. We have heard Lucia mention, I noted down these math and craft lessons, which I found brilliant, which is definitely into this innovator role. And sometimes they also advocate for their role in society. And last but not least, they're also cultural stewards, which is maybe the role that is most connected to heritage, because they are able to preserve local cultural, tangible and intangible heritage, but at the same time to reframe it and rethink it in the context of modern challenges, which again was perfectly mentioned by Lucia before. And here just a couple of examples of the practices and case studies we have collected in the research. 2 very different cultural centers, from Salines Royal in France, which is a renowned UNESCO heritage site, but also a vibrant cultural center, or a smaller independent cultural center in Romania called In Context, in a beautiful heritage site of Slanic, Moldova. But of course, these potentialities come with a number of challenges. and especially challenges we have, again, in this participatory trajectory, we have co-identified these challenges, and especially the smaller, the grassroots, the independent cultural centers are confronted with these challenges on a daily basis. From resource constraints and operational challenges, which is not just about limited funding, but also they're confronted with inadequate funding. It's not just a matter of giving more money, but also in the right way for which purposes, which is also linked to a lack of recognition sometimes at the local level, the lack of recognition, especially from policymakers and funders. But then there are some challenges which are more related to local dynamics, to political and socioeconomic trends, like resistance to change and stakeholder engagement. But then we also have measuring impact and the complexity of the navigating into sustainability practices, which are mainly linked to skills, lack of skills, or where these skills are there is most cases a matter of lack of resources and time, because we have to imagine that these cultural centers are often run by volunteers or by really a couple of employed persons. On the bright side, we have tried to create a toolbox for action for policymakers and funders, for networks, and for community-based cultural organizations themselves, in order to help them, to support them in identifying the main areas of action to overcome these challenges, but most important to support community-based cultural organizations in really enabling them to then enable change at the local level. I will not dive into each action area because it's pretty long, but you can definitely dive into each role in the larger research we have published. But you can see that each group of stakeholders, each ecosystem stakeholders have very different types of actions on which it should focus, from the policymakers and funders. So focusing mainly on establishing supportive policy frameworks, designing the right funding programs with the right funding strategies, but also using this concept of risk-taking and risk-taking programs to foster social innovation, a concept that is often linked only to technological innovation, but also supporting the ecosystem, enhancing this ecosystem. But then networks also play a very, very crucial role in supporting cultural centers, in vision development, in enhancing the visibility and advocacy of these places, and in a number of other ways. And last but not least, of course, the organizations themselves also have a number of actions on which they could decide to focus to play a more active role in these just sustainability transitions at the local level. So I think the last message that I want to convey is just that in every discourse about challenges and opportunities and solutions, we cannot imagine every single actor acting alone in an independent, in an autonomous way. It's always and it will always be an ecosystem matter, an ecosystem effort. So everyone has a role, everyone should be aware of the role they play in this local ecosystem. And I'm sure that here, of course, we are missing some group of stakeholders. That's the limitation of this study, but we are working on that to update our research. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was on point. And I think the toolbox you spoke about, that's part of this, can be part of this knowledge transfer that, let's say, empower people in the cultural centers, but also stakeholders in general. And I also want to build on the words you say on the ecosystems, on the power of networks, and the power of stewards, heritage stewards, and their importance, because that, I think, is smooth transition to our next speaker, to Daniele Moschetti. Is an archaeologist and art historian whose passion is discovering or uncovering life and art within cultural heritage. I see a very archaeological approach here. And in his research, he encountered the cooperative called La Paranza in Napoli and Naples, and they work with the catacombs there. and this magical setting experience for like first-hand experience on how these places can, even places that are, you know, dead because we're talking about catacombs, they can radiate life and they can bring life from the past and also for the present. I want to ask you about this experience, the cooperative, and how, which is, I think, a sort of cultural center as well. And what is the novel approach that this cooperative introduced in leveraging in exploit cultural heritage, in particular for the regeneration of the social tissue, of like social cohesion of the town. And perhaps also as follow-up question again, what lesson can be drawn from your experience and from the cooperative experience? And what is the role, this is a specific question, what is the role of youth, of young people in this transformative approach, in this transformative process? Because I know that this organization is very much youth participated. I hope I wasn't too long. Please, the floor is yours.
So first, thank for this occasion to take the word in these beautiful dialogues. And let me know if you can see just the presentation I've prepared.
I do, yes.
Okay, perfect. So, well, as you can see here in the first slides, the main message we want to send to the others is that caring for cultural heritage is and means caring for people. That because maybe this is the main core of our activities and of our mission in the world of cultural heritage. To really know how La Paranza Cooperative can tell this new approach, this new novel, we need to have a step back in the past of the area in which La Paranza Cooperative is born and still works. That's the Sanità district. And the Sanità district is a part of Naples that's in the heart of the city, but it was carried out by a bridge. That's the bridge you can see in this photo. It was built in 1806 by the Napoleonic government here in Naples. But this urbanistic revolution doesn't really understood how dangerous could be the building of a bridge, just cutting out an entire part of the city. Once one of the most living part of the city, one of the most cultural one, and so even one of the wealthiest part of the city. So this bridge just cut it out everything, and even the social inclusion of this part of Naples in the city. And there was the starting moment of the decline of the Sanità district, we can see. And these problems still continue till a few years ago. And that's the worst part of our history we can really see. And indeed, here, I just collect some data about the Sanità district that are the most even problematic one, we can say. Like, as you can see, we can see the 60% of youth unemployment. And that's one of the needs that the cooperative has to respond for the society here. Or, for example, the 40% of school dropout, that's still one of the problems we're fighting every day. And even the youngs leaving the city of Naples. The number you can read over there is calculated in 10 years of living. So it's a really long and bleeding process in the city story. So we really thought that we need to make something. We really need to stand up in the district to make something. And so in 2006, the La Paranza Cooperative was just born to respond to these needs of the district, and enshrined by the ideas of the Faro Convention. And so to the idea of the public participation and the community participation in the managing of cultural heritage, managing and even the life that can exude by the cultural heritage. And so we're really starting to stand up and build processes, even build with and by the community of the Sanità district that can pass through the valorization of the cultural heritage to use them as a booster for the renovation, social renovation, but even the urban regeneration of this area of Naples, because we really and strictly believed that at first the community needs to participate to the cultural heritage life of that neighborhood, but even of that city. and then can even participate to the process of urban regenerations. Because if you really felt the idea of cultural identity, you can even feel how to explore the idea of cultural identity through the social and urban regeneration. So the new approach that we brought was that to just put the people as first actors in the managing of cultural sites. For example, even the ones valorized by us, we just had the material actions of valorization. But the first one questioned to do and to know how to do it are the people. And so that's even one of the ways we still following to manage even the story the storytelling, yes, we can say, to the rest of the world. That's always start from the community. And all the processes about the managing of these beautiful set of cultural sites is always community-based and following these ideas of the Faro Convention of letting the people be part and actors in the managing of their cultural heritage. And even going on the new sites we had put it inside the story is the youth entrepreneurship, because we truly believed that the youngs were the first step to make this process really youth driven and even community driven. Because of course you can imagine after 200 years of problems and social inequality in the Sanità district, the older generations were quite, we can say, quite discouraged by the possibility of changement. They were used to be held by the others like criminals or like the worst part of the city. So the cooperative started from the youth. And indeed, as you can see here, the numbers just speaks clearly. We all the members had an average age of 33. One of the most young cooperative working cultural heritage in Italy. And even the 72% of us are under 35 years. And this is one of the main compass of La Paranza Cooperative, always to maintain the youth rate and the youth employment to just discuss and build all the decisional processes about the cultural heritage in cooperation always with the society and community of the Sanità district even. And for example, we always told about discarded stones, so the idea of the one forgotten by the society. But as you can see here, these discarded stones were the starting point of this new story, of this new chapter about the Sanità district. For example, the 42% just improved their qualification after joining the cooperative, because the cultural heritage is even an activation model to improve the life condition of the cities and of the community living in the cities. But this process starts from the childhood, because it's not only job employment, thanks to the policies made in the area of the cultural heritage, but this process starts from the childhood when the future actors of cultural heritage are still in the building process. Indeed, the 50% of us is just coming from all the educational centers that are built in the net of the cultural heritage of Sanità district. And lastly, the most important thing that we want to say that the new idea, the new approach that La Paranza Cooperative had is not to be the owners of a cultural site, but just to be the actors of activation processes for the community. And so the real owners of these sites is the community that has always questions from us. For example, in the next future, we're going to reopen up an older site in the Rione Sanità district. And so we decided to make a community-driven process, even, for example, to build the visual identity of this new site. So we have really convocated a reunion of all the inhabitants of the neighborhood. And we said, okay, now we need to build up the new visual identity. So we want to know what you want to do and how you want to represent your cultural sites. And so that's maybe the new approach. And of course, in this new approach, the youth is the main core of everything, because all the processes are just driven by the youth stage of inhabitants of Sanità district. And so that's maybe the final closing. And this is the reason that why caring for cultural heritage means even caring for people. And so thank you all for the attention.
Thank you. And I was taking some notes for wrap up, but you actually did it at the end. And I want to stretch exactly the focus on community heritage, and the fact of not owning the site but activating a process and involving the youth in this process, because in this way, like, the innovation will come with them. And also I saw a link with the educational part that we just encountered at the beginning of the panel with Lisa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, before closing the panel, I still want to call all of you speakers for a quick question. I would like you to give us one insight or one element that you think is one of the most relevant and you would like to be emphasized. So then I will not comment on it, but we will take it for the second part, for the breakout room, and can be, an element to enrich the discussion. Perhaps we can start in the same order of intervention. So, Lucia, I will ask you to keep it in a really one sentence to move next to the next part.
Okay, very short. I will try. I think what Daniel Enrico just said, that working with cultural heritage is working with people and with people needs. I see it's the very important topic of all our work, actually, what we heard in these four presentations. I'm inspired and I'm waiting for the discussion.
Thank you. Pavlos, perhaps.
Yeah, I think I will stay at the same level, and I will say that community is the most important part also for digital heritage. So as I also emphasized in the presentation, digital heritage as a tool doesn't mean anything if you don't have a strong community, if you don't exploit it for the community and for cultural heritage.
Well received. Martina?
Yes, well, very hard to keep it in one sentence, but the organization I work with works with policymakers and funders, so inevitably my message maybe is more policy oriented, but we have been listening to very inspiring practices, examples, cases. So my main message to all of you is to continue advocating for the role of cultural and creativity in our society, especially in the light of the plans of the European Commission for the next MFF, where the existence itself of the Creative Europe program is in danger. So please, let's all advocate for that, continue advocating for that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see a hand up, but perhaps we just go through Daniele inside, and then we take the question.
Yeah, I link with all my colleagues and say that the best that we can make is just to continue to see the cultural heritage as the frame in which we can walk with the communities, because without the communities, cultural heritage are just beautiful box, but empty. Maybe that's the meaning.
Thank you. And I will ask Jochen, I think it's pronounced.
Yeah, thank you. I observed in the last years in Europe some nice modern exhibition places like the CCCB in Barcelona. And I think in complex topics, it's good to add some philosophy. I miss often ethics are included, but aesthetics and epistemology, I would wish that Europe includes some more philosophy into these debates and projects.
Thank you. We can also keep this as a point for the breakout room. And the speakers will also join the breakout room, so they're available for questions. But I would like to have it more a dialogic intervention there. So like for everyone to have a chance to share their own. So perhaps now thanks again the speakers. It was very nice panel. And yeah, of course you're welcome to remain. And I will just give you a quick explanation of what is coming now. all the participants will be, I don't know how many are we now, around 100, will be divided into 2 breakout rooms. You can actually choose which one you prefer. And there you can have a more informal discussion. It will guide by a facilitator for about 40 minutes. So it will be the second part of this dialogue. After that, when we reconvene the plenary, there are 2 designated rapporteurs, and they will briefly present the findings of the other room that you couldn't participate in. And again, I want to stress that your contribution is relevant. As also Martina raised, we are here to raise our voices together, to advocating together. So please do participate. Now I'm gonna tell you the 2 themes of the breakout rooms are: the first one is the role of knowledge and skills in cultural heritage, bridging tradition and innovation. And the second is cultural heritage as a driver of social innovation. So I can repeat, and then you can choose your favorite room. Role of knowledge and skills in cultural heritage, first room, and then cultural heritage as a driver of social innovation, second room. The 2 rooms will be moderated, as I said. And for the first one, we have Lorena Aldana. I think you can turn on the camera or say hi so everyone can see you. And she's head of external relations and advocacy at Europeana Foundation. That's an independent non-profit organization that champions for digital cultural heritage to be open, knowledgeable, and a creative society. And they're also a proud partner of the Hub project. The second room will be moderated by Natalia Vezzali. You can also say hi if you're there. And she works for Europa Nostra as a project, European Projects Coordinator, and she's also dealing with the networking components of the European Heritage Hub. I don't see you, but yeah, I just moved.
Hello.
Hi
To see
both.
you.
So thanks for your help. And perhaps just quick reminder that again, use the hand raise button to intervene, so to make the work smoother for the moderators. And also, I want to tell you that the breakout room will be recorded as this meeting, but as this first part. But while this first part will be promoted online, the breakout rooms will remain. The recording will remain only internally and will be used to recollect notes and check few things, but it will not be published. So you are hopefully more free to speak. And I don't have anything to add now, so I think we can open the breakout rooms. Okay, I think everyone it's back in the plenary. So yeah, thanks to the facilitators for the job, because we had around 40 participants in each of the breakout rooms, so it was well well participated. And I would not waste other time, so I will ask to the rapporteurs, my colleagues Adiclay Europe, to report back perhaps 2-3 key insights in 2-3 minutes each, and then we can move forward. Perhaps we start from the breakout room number 1. I call Clotilde May. Are you there?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we had a really active discussion. In fact, Stavrola was cut short. Sorry for that. Maybe some of the key insights that we discussed was first, we identified that digital technologies can definitely be a bridge for youth engagement, in particular in heritage. So we had some examples from our speakers who highlighted how it can help to revitalize interest in cultural heritage among youth and students. So Pavlov shared an interesting example of using Minecraft in a heritage project that really yielded super promising results. So this was one example. Also the use of digital platforms, so social media, that allow for larger visibility, especially for small and local crafts that could never be achieved without. Then we discussed the need to balance tradition, innovation, and the private market, so making a better link between them, and the challenge of balancing the preservation of these traditional craftsmanship with the need for innovation and market viability. Let's see, what else did we discuss? We also made really interesting links to the pandemic. So both the time during the pandemic and when we were all at home using a lot of digital tools to continue going about our daily life for both hobbies, crafts, and our work as well. But after the pandemic, we could observe that many people also wanted to come back to real interactions, really working with their hands, coming to workshops in person. So although the digital tools are really precious, but they don't replace real world experience. Yes, I think that are the main points that I could share from this group discussion.
Thank you very much. And also, as a follow-up, we will work on these notes and also on the previous part of the meeting, and we will prepare a report to share with all you participants. Thanks, Clotilde. Now we call Telmo Jimenez. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello all. Very interesting discussions in our breakout room as well. And well, it can be hard to just highlight a few key messages of everything that was said. But one important fact that or thing that was talked in our breakout room was mentioning about local pride or pride in general, but especially local, as an important factor to drive cultural heritage preservation. Daniele explained, well, he talked again about the La Paranza project they have, and showed how, or explained how there's even local people who may not be precisely workers of La Paranza, but uh, they they show the work to others, to tourists, to people not from the area, from the people not local, and how this pride helps very much in the in local heritage preservation. Then on the same line, we talked about the importance of involving a community in cultural heritage, especially the youth, young people, and how these youth should or especially should influence decision making. And we discussed how real processes that make change are those that come from um, community-driven preservation. And lastly, I would say that as a challenge, because I've only talked about recommendations so far, that one of the challenges at the moment is with everything that's going on in the world is difficult to measure the impact of cultural heritage on people and its importance on this. And I liked a sentence that I don't know, I don't remember who said it, but wars delete culture, and I totally agree. And Daniel, I think again said that the best weapon to fight actual weapons is and should be cultural heritage. So.
Thank you for your message. Very nice ending. Yeah, we are 15 minutes ahead of time, but we can move towards the final remarks. First of all, thanks to all of you to make the breakout room participated. Before concluding, I want to make a little step back and go back to the project, the European Heritage Hub, because we say that the overreaching goal is to create this networking, this kind of united movement, pan-European movement, and there are many different ways, many different activities in doing so. The dialogues are one of them, but there are others, and I would like now to give the floor to my colleague Kumal Poddar for the announcement of the next step, the next big step of the hub. Are you there, Kumal?
Yes,
I
I'm
can see
here
the
very
screen.
much, and you can already see the screen. So first of all, thank you all. This was a very successful discussion. I was in between both the breakout rooms and also all the 4 speakers, moderators, and also the participants. Kudos to you all, because this was a warm-up before the big 2-day forum that we are hosting in Putwa on the 3rd and 4th of April. And this is focusing on the EU enlargement, the cultural heritage as a key resource for cities and civil societies. So most of the topics and the projects that were discussed touched upon these 2 areas, and also talking about inclusiveness, social cooperation, as well as regional cooperation, and how to involve policymakers, practitioners, academicians in these various proposals and projects and initiatives. As Joelle mentioned initially in the introduction, this is part of the series of 3 forums that are that were held, that would have been held as part of the Heritage Hub project, where 2 previously were held in Venice, which focused on climate change, and in Bucharest, focusing on digital innovations. And out of the triple transformation theme, this forum is on the third aspect, which is social transformation. And it's co-organized by ICLE and Europa Nostra. And we also have a few of the speakers who are present here today will also be present in person in Budva. So we look forward to that engagement as well. And so as the name suggests, we're focusing on this 2-day event to gather cities, civil society experts, practitioners, as well as policymakers, and to explore heritage and how it can drive community resilience and sustainable development to promote best practices and innovative solutions. So I would request you all who are there present in the audience to share the word. Also, you can scan and it will lead you to the program, the detail of the 2 events, as well as the registration form. And we have tried to make this event also inclusive. So it's in person as well as online, but it requires registration, and it also is free of cost. So we would urge you to participate in this program in person or online, and we'll see you in the coming weeks. So, and we look forward to also share the results of this forum with you all. So thank you, and over to you, Joelle.
Thank you. That's exciting, and as you say, is in line with what has been discussed today. I don't have much to add to this, if not like extending the invitation to Buddha. I posted the link as well in the chat, so you can register either if you participate online or in person. And I also saw from the chat the comment from Han, so I'm very sorry that you couldn't find the button to speak, but feel free to send an email. I would say perhaps I can post my email address, because I'm asking to my colleagues at Europa Nostra, do they have an email they can reach, or was an automatic reply that they received? I think we can keep it open for the rest of the week to receive any other input on the topic, and then close it.
You mean a general hub email, Joelle, to reach out to?
Yes.
Yes, I can share it here now in the
Thank you.
chat.
So perhaps today's Tuesday, we can have until Friday for any other input if you couldn't had the time or the opportunity to speak. And beside that, I think it's all. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for speakers, panelists, moderators, rapporteurs, and technical support and everyone. And I hope to see you to the next dialogue. We still don't have a date, but stay tuned, and hopefully to the forum. Thank you very much, and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you very
Bye.
much, Joelle. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone. Ready.
For the invitation. See you somewhere.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you,
Keep
Buddha.
in touch.
See you in Budva.
Thank you.
Hopefully.
See you.
See you. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, guys, and see you in Budva. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all for
Pleasure.
your